The Biden administration in the United States is pressing ahead with booster shots starting this month. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the president's chief medical advisor, said Pfizer shots will come first, then Moderna. He discussed the timeline on CNN New Day.
We're still aiming for the week of September the 20th. It would have been optimal to get, at least with the mRNAs, to get both Pfizer and Moderna to roll out the booster program at the same time simultaneously. It looks now it is possible, and I think likely, that you will see Pfizer get rolled out first because the data that they submitted to the FDA. Moderna may be a bit behind, but not much. So I think that you're going to get both of them out. They may not be absolutely simultaneously, but it's going to be close.
By the end of this month?
I would hope so. I think they'd probably end no more than a couple of weeks behind, if that much.
Noubar Abeyan is the co-founder and chair of Moderna, where the shares were down 3% today. Sir, how far behind are you, and when do you expect your boosters?
Well, good to be on with you again, Richard. We submitted our materials last week, and at this point it's up to the FDA when they can complete the review of the additional EUA needed for the boosters, and we're looking forward to that determination. I expect it to be shortly.
Right, and I imagine you have production facilities running at full tilt, not only for creating vaccine for initial vaccinations and double vaccinations, but now for boosters. Can you keep up?
Absolutely. In fact, we have been ramping up all year. We went into this year expecting we'd be producing upwards of 600-700 million doses. We've upped that to about 1 billion for 2021, and we're looking forward to the potential of making up to 3 billion doses in 2022. So it's a steady increase, even as we gear up to also incorporate the boosters into the program.
We are a business program, sir. You'll forgive me. I know you will if we do turn to that aspect of it. The reality is, I mean, are we now in a situation where, in your view, booster shots will be required on a regular basis for the foreseeable future, arguably like the flu, but perhaps more frequently?
I think that it's easy to guess as to what might happen. It's hard to know. And I think that we have to be prepared and then let the data guide our decision making. As recently as 2 months ago, as you know, there was a lot of speculation that we may never need a booster. Sure enough, the data coming out on the Delta variant has compelled the regulators and the health authorities to really take a close look at that. At this point, it looks like we will need it. Mm-hmm. And yet, come 6 to 12 months from now, what we won't have a good sense of today is what will be the threat, what variants might exist, and how well are the vaccines performing against those. So I think at this point, people speculating whether it'll be needed every 6 months or every year. As you may know, Moderna has announced that we are working on a program wherein we think we'll be combining a seasonal flu and COVID vaccine, potentially one more respiratory vaccine, into a single shot, which will have an annual target to it. These are some of the things we're creating the possibilities to do. And then we have to work with the governments everywhere, really, to figure out what's the right solution for their population.
And how far do you have to think in terms of the profits made from this? And by that, I mean, in the first part of the pandemic, when you're creating the vaccine, there's an element of public good, get this done. We've got to get economies, we've got to get save lives, we've got to get economies, we've got to get people. But if we're now talking about an endemic rather than pandemic, then companies like Moderna, Pfizer, all of you, I'm not singling you out, you just happen to be on the program tonight, but all of you have an almost guaranteed high revenue stream for the foreseeable future.
Richard, this is I think in the heat of the pandemic, what we haven't really realized is that there's a 10-year history of developing this platform that we at Moderna were fortunate to have done. We had 9 vaccines in clinical development even before this virus showed up. And the And the basis for our ability to move so quickly, and for that matter, the ability of others to move quickly as well, is really based on that investment. The good news is that this same platform will be applicable to many additional vaccines going forward. So we've ramped up the number of different vaccines that we're going to be
Right.
making. And when we think of vaccines, we think we know all the vaccines that are going to exist in the world. In fact, we have a tiny fraction of the vaccines that could be made. We know there's no vaccine for HIV that's shown effectiveness. So I look forward to the next period where you're going to see the benefits and windfall from a technology advance such as this
Sure.
really impacting health in a much more profound way. And that's what that money is going to go into fueling. So I think more to come, but it's definitely, we think, a fairly long wave of improvements to human health.
You mentioned HIV. Do you think mRNA can offer something that's just bedeviled? I mean, I understand the difficulties of the virus and the way it's integrated into the body, etc. But do you believe that this could offer a potential for a vaccine against it?
I believe it could offer the potential. And moreover, I would say that one of the vexing challenges about an HIV virus is the degree to which it mutates. And our vaccine technology is simply not in a position to be able to anticipate or even precede those mutations. As we learn more and more about the life cycle of the possible mutations that could occur, I do think that a code based vaccine,
Right.
which mRNA is, information based vaccine, is an ideal antidote, if you will. No guarantees, but if we were going to start all over again, I think we would pick an information molecule to fight against a virus, which is itself an information life form.
I asked this last question, sir, more tongue in cheek than anything else. Where do you stand on the idea of intermixing of vaccines? So if you had a Pfizer, you can have a Moderna booster. If you had a Johnson, Moderna. Or do you think it should be a little like, you know, only the razor blade fits in the manufacturer's razor holder?
You know, it's an interesting question because I think that there's a lot of live experiments going on, and there's millions of people who actually have taken more than one type of vaccine. And of course, we don't have data that tracks them, but the studies that have been run seem to be maturing. And I think what they may show is that is a possibility. Certainly, the advice we give is that the vaccine that's available should be taken, and if there's a reason why one can't take
Right.
a more of the vaccine they took, then they should definitely avail themselves to the protection of another one. So I think we will get more scientific data, but I think the concern about some special untoward thing that could happen seems to be not supported with data so far.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you taking time. Very good to talk to you. We'll talk again,
Thanks
of
for
course,
having me.
to update each other as the year moves on. Thank you.